Hey guys, and welcome back to ForkU. Today is the third and final day of my week of robots, and today we are talking about the end of the world. So this week we've talked about robots taking your job, robots taking your sex life, and today we are talking about the scariest of them all, robots taking your life. Side note, while I'm recommending TV shows and movies, if you haven't watched The End of the F***ing World on Netflix, go check it out, it's pretty good. So robocalypse, let me break this word down for you. You remember Jesus and dinosaur? So robot, apocalypse, robocalypse. What a word. Ever since robots emerged into the science fiction narratives of humanity, people have been trying to figure out just how robots might bring the fall of man, the end of days, the final countdown. Why do you guys hate music? The whole enchilada. Not that one. Robots have the potential to have a hand in healthcare, commerce, and even the military. In the military, we already have autonomous drones, and when these drones start to make intelligent decisions about where to fire or when to fire, we have to start calling them robots, and this is where they become really dangerous. Alright, so the key to avoiding loss of life in the military is to build killer robots. But then, what if our enemies build killer robots, and then their killer robots are fighting our killer robots, and then we have to fight their killer robots? But what will our killer robots be doing? And then their killer robots will come into our town and fight our killer robots, and then we'll have to send our killer robots to North Korea. What if the killer robots fall in love, and then they make little killer robot babies, and we have to fight those too? And then what if a killer robot gets elected to president, and I have to serve a killer robot? What if they make a killer robot that looks exactly like me, and I have to kill myself as a killer robot? What if my wife's a killer robot? What if my daddy was a killer robot? Tell me, are you a killer robot? Answer me. What if we're all killer robots? Je t'aime. Oui, je t'aime. Killer robot. Answer me. Ладно, уже не смешно. Я уже просто говорю рандомные фразы на русском, потому что я на самом деле не военный, а блогер. До свидания. This worry about increased intelligence in AI in the military has led to many an open letter by very intelligent scientists and even a campaign to stop killer robots, which kind of sounds like a metaphor for a racial hate group in a movie about lovable robots.
Well, our message is that God hates
robots, but that's beside the point. But even great minds like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking have expressed their concerns about the existential threat that AI could pose to humanity in the coming years. The other major concern with robots and artificial intelligence comes from a word, FOOM. So what is FOOM? FOOM! FOOM comes from the idea that an artificial intelligence could reach a moment where it teaches itself to become more intelligent recursively and goes beyond the intentions of its creator. So should we be worried? Well, there's one really important point to remember in the potential for a robot apocalypse, that in order for there to be a robot that would cause an apocalypse, a human being would have to create said robot. So if we can put enough checks and have enough foresight that a human being doesn't actually flick the switch on that potential doomsday robot, then we can avoid said potential doomsday. Seems simple enough, right? Right? Guys, right? Unfortunately, in innovation, they rarely put the brakes on soon enough. I mean, think of the atom bomb and how that changed the face of warfare forever. And since it seems like those in power haven't learned much in the interim, I've created a list of ways to prevent the robocalypse. 1. Don't build the robot. 2. Don't build the robot. 3. Don't build the fucking robot. Nice. On another hopeful note, in an interview with Big Think, Michio Kaku, renowned futurist physicist and author, discussed the possibility of a singularity. So the singularity is the moment that robot intelligence matches human intelligence. And he was on a panel with a number of other renowned scientists, and they were asked when do they think the singularity will happen. And none of them could agree. There was 20 years, 1,000 years, some people said never. But Michio Kaku then did a separate interview where he talked about a few things that should be hopeful in the light of a potential robot apocalypse. 1. Science. The idea of Moore's Law. So what's Moore's Law? Moore's Law is the idea that the number of transistors that can fit on an integrated circuit doubles about every 2 years. Essentially, computers get twice as smart every 2 years. And Moore's Law has held for the past 100 years, but Michio Kaku talks about the fact that Moore's Law might not hold true in the coming 10 to 15 years because of silicon. So silicon is a non-metal chemical element that we use in transistors and as superconductors. It essentially is the backbone of all of our modern computing, and we're reaching a point where we can't make things smaller with silicon because it's such an unstable element that it will break down. So we'll have to move into what Kaku calls a post-silicon era, where we're using something like quantum computing. 2, logic, a kill switch. He thinks that if we ever reach the point of a singularity, the way to avoid a robot apocalypse is by putting a kill switch in the brains of these robots that turns them off the second they get murderous or violent thoughts. My retort is that if a robot's reached the point where it's the same intelligence as humanity, won't it be smart enough to deactivate the kill switch in its brain? I don't know. So what scares me the most is the post-silicon era that Michio Kaku mentions. This idea where computing gets turned on its head. We're already seeing some of this with emerging ideas of quantum computing, but we really still don't understand it. But hey, we can trust the governments of the world to not make foolish and world-ending decisions, right? 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 But imagine an army of killer Roombas. They'd sweep away the enemies. So damn, sex robots and robot apocalypses are kind of a downer, so to cheer you up, here's a video of a robot dog doing a flip. Look at him go. Oh, come on! Thank you for coming on this journey into the world of robots with me. Let me know in the comments what you think of all these things. Are you worried robots are gonna take your job? Are you interested in sex robots, or do you think they're gross? And finally, are you scared about the robot apocalypse? If there's anything that I missed in this video you think I should know, also let me know in the comments. All of my social media links are below as always. ForkU official on Facebook, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, and Steemit. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and slap the bell so you can stay up to date with all of my new videos, and I will see you in the next video. That's ForkU. Do you own a Roomba? And if so, for the love of God, why?